A few days ago, Canva held their big annual event called Canva Create in Los Angeles. And apart from a really cringy rap performance, it looked like a very impressive event and was very well attended. Historically, this event is where Canva announces new features and new releases and talks about the focus for the year. With the tagline for this year being Work Reimagined, it's no surprise that a big part of the presentation was about how Canva can help businesses thrive, looking at 4 specific areas: HR, marketing, sales, and creative. But the other big announcement at the event was Canva's Glow Up, a complete visual refresh of the Canva dashboard and interface that has already started rolling out, and Canva has told me will be available to everyone in the next couple of months. So let's have a hands-on look at what's new, what's changed, and also talk about a couple of disappointments. The really important part of this glow up is not just that it's a refreshed look, but it's the way that they've laid out the tools and menus, which is designed to make better use of the screen that you're working on. And that's the really important part. Let me show you what I mean. The Canva Glow Up has basically taken our dashboard from looking like this to looking a little more like this. But let's have a look at what that looks like inside my actual Canva dashboard. So you'll see that they've increased the space that we have for our recent designs, and they've just made it a little more compact for the logos of the icons where we need to access things. But you can see at the top here, you still have access to all of the most popular design sizes or formats, and you can click on one of those to start a blank version of that. If you click on more, it now brings up the full list of different layouts and sizes that you can create. And they're really nicely categorized on the left-hand side, so it's easy for you to not just find the blank version of those, but any brand templates that fit with those sizes and versions, and you can also browse some of the templates at the bottom here. However, one of the things you'll notice is that there's no option to browse templates directly from here, and that's because templates now have their own section on the left-hand side as one of the 5 main tabs. So on the left-hand side we have our Home tab where we are now, we have Projects, which, as it did before, takes us to be able to see our folders and the structure we've created for ourselves. Then we have Templates, which takes us to a whole new page just for templates, although you can still access blank versions of those documents from here. And then we have our Brand tab, which has brand kits, brand templates, and controls, as it did before. And then there's a section for apps. Now, Canva has made way more of a feature of apps in this new version, and I think it's really good. There are some exceptional apps, and I will be doing a future video on some of the best apps that are available to you. They basically just augment what you can do in Canva already, and sometimes get around some of the things that you may find a little limiting, things that Canva can't yet do. But we'll come back to talking about those. I just think it's a great idea that they're more easily organized on here, and you can actually see them based on category, and it just makes a little more of them and makes it easier to see what they do and what could be of use to you. Now let's go back to the Projects tab. As I said before, this is where all of your folders are. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I think organization within Canva is one of the missing pieces that most people don't really use, and it kind of becomes a problem for them. You end up with a dumping ground of files all in your recent used documents, and that becomes difficult to find things you need when you need them. So I think organizing and creating a filing structure and a folder structure within Canva is essential. And Canva just made that a little bit easier for you by giving you more space to work with. And when you click within a folder, so for example, if I click on my content creation folder, you'll see it not only opens up the subfolders here so I can see them, but they're also on the left-hand side, making it nice and easy to navigate to them and a lot more efficient when you're looking through folders that have a lot of subfolders. If we go back to Projects just by clicking on the top left here, the other thing that they've done is they've also allowed us to filter things here by owner, category, and date modified. And they've also got a way for us to sort this. And they've added this new function which is called Most Relevant. Now it uses AI just to decide which of these documents you use most and are most relevant to what you're doing right now. It won't always be spot on, but it's very helpful, especially when you have a lot of files or designs within your Canva dashboard. And then of course you can sort by newest, oldest, and by alphabetical order. On the right-hand side at the top, you can add a new folder or a course. A course is just a collection of resources within Canva, and I'm going to do a future video on how to create one of those and make it useful for you. The other thing you can do is just upload directly here, and import from one of the main storage apps. One of the things I do like about this new refresh or glow up is that they've made more of a feature of your starred items or folders. Now, you've always been able to star items, folders, designs, templates, anything in Canva, and all that does is it puts them in one place so that you can find your starred items much more easily. All Canva have done now is to make a little more of the shortcuts, and they're allowing us to create sections of shortcuts. So it's basically just another organizational structure. On the left-hand side here, you'll see I have a content creation folder starred. If I hover over it here in the main window, the starred icon is yellow. I can unclick it, which will unstar it just by clicking again, and you'll see it disappears on the left-hand side. I can hover over it again and click the star to star it, and it appears there. So that's really handy because I can also do that with subfolders. So if I go into my Brand Central folder here, I'm going to star the color references folder. And when I do that, you'll see it will also appear when I go back to projects in my list of starred items. Another thing that I really like is that within the starred items on the left-hand side here, Canva have now allowed us to create a kind of subcategory here, which they've called sections. If I click on Create Section, it then gives me the option just to add a label or a name for the section. So I'm going to call this section Demo Section. And one of the really cute things is if I click on this little emoji icon on the left, I can add any emoji that I want. I'm going to add this little wolf and then just click anywhere and that section is there. Now there's a little pull down arrow here, but if I click that, there's nothing in the section. And the easy thing is that I can just add any of these to that section by clicking and dragging. If I click and drag color references just over demo section, you'll see it highlights. If I let go, it's now within the demo section. I can do the same for the other folder. That just means I can collapse this demo section, and it's now a whole separate folder in there. Easy for me to find things, but easy to keep organized. And if I just hover over it, the pull down arrow appears, and I can pull it down to see what's within that demo section. If I want to remove something from that section, I just click and drag it to the main frame. You'll see the whole frame outline appears, and I will just let go, and it's now outside of that demo section, back in the general starred section. And anytime that you want to, you can just click on the three dots, rename, or delete that section. It's really nice and easy, and it's a great way to organize your favorites, essentially. So it's like having a favorites folders specifically for things within Canva. A simple thing, but really helpful, especially if you're juggling multiple brands or multiple companies that you work for, etc. So really nice little addition that could be very helpful. In the template section, you have exactly what you would imagine. All of the templates that you can normally access and have been able to. And again, you can change them based on category. You can do presentations, social media, etc., and just scroll along as you used to find the various different ones. Now, one of the things that you will notice is brand new in here is work kits. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll see it's in this menu bar, but it's also the first thing you see when you come to templates. Work kits are essentially just a collection of templates within Canva that are specifically curated for you to be able to use for your business. It makes it so much easier to find really useful templates without having to troll through thousands and thousands of templates within Canva. Now, initially, I was a little concerned that these may only really be valuable to bigger companies, but once I started looking through them, I realized that this is an absolute goldmine for those of us who are solopreneurs or have small businesses. Often we don't know where to start when we're looking to create something for our business, whether it's a business plan or a proposal or even following up and chasing on social media metrics. Any of these things can be really time-consuming to just get started. And this is where these work kits come in. They've categorized them into marketing, sales, human resources, and creative. Now, if I just go to creative, because obviously, we can see that it immediately introduces what they're for, and then it gives us categories and collections of these different templates. So if you're looking for a creative brief, there are a number of different templates that could help. Brand research, customer persona, a creative brief document, a messaging doc. These are all little things that I know my clients have often asked me about, and so I think they could be incredibly valuable. If we go back to work kits and have a look at one of the others, let's say, for example, sales. If we scroll down, you'll see that there are templates for a sales pitch, a customer profile. There are so many different templates in here that are worth exploring. Now, you're not going to use these every single day, but in terms of having access to reliable templates for pretty much any function of your business quickly and easily, these are a great resource. And as I say, they're more of a curation of templates within Canva that you can rely on to be good quality, and you can easily customize them for your brand. The other thing within the template section is that we have a photos section now, which again, you can access photos from the elements, but what it does do is it gives you some of the more high quality photos that are available. What I did like about this is I discovered that they're often grouped into collections that are very similar. So for example, if I wanted to use this image, but I wanted similar images, if I click on it, you'll see it brings me up a list of other photos that are in the same photo shoot or very similar. And that makes it easy to create a consistent look and feel using some of these images. They've also made a new section for icons specifically. And these I think are really helpful, nicely categorized at the top here. And it just means that you can select any of these options, maybe find some icons that you like, and then you can either star them, or if you open it up to have a look at the preview and you click on the 3 dots, you can actually add them to a folder. So nice and easy to use. And of course, you can just click on the big purple button to use them in a design. The brand section is as it's always been. You have access to all of your brand templates that you have marked as a brand template, and your brand controls, which are really helpful if you're working with a team. So that covers the changes to the interface. But actually, some of the more obvious visual changes have been when you're editing within a design or a document. So I'm going to just open this design here, which is something that I used as a demonstration inside my Canva OS program. And once I click on that, you'll see it opens up as per normal. But as soon as I click within the document, keep an eye on the left-hand side and you'll see how that automatically changes to our editing menu. All of our usual sections appear on the left-hand side. We have design, elements, text, brand, etc. But they're just neat little icons pushed to the left, and it makes more of the screen real estate in the middle for us to actually work on our design. One of the things I like about the way they've organized the menu on the left-hand side is that if you hover over any of those icons, that section appears. So if I hover over design, I can then search for templates, I can scroll down to see what's here, and I can look at styles that are available to me. And as soon as I move away from that menu or from that pull-out menu, it will then disappear, allowing me to focus on the design itself. If I wanted to stay open so that I can keep going back to it more easily, all I have to do is just click on it, and it will now stay open here while I work. When I'm finished and I want it to go away, I just click on the little X at the top here to close it. And that goes for any of these sections. So you still have full access to them, but as soon as you are not working with them, they disappear so that you can focus on your design. The next key thing that you'll notice is that depending on what you click on, this little menu that appears at the top here will change. Now this is called a contextual menu, and it just means that it changes based on the context. And Adobe have been using this in their tools for the last year or so, and it's been pretty useful, but it can get a bit annoying in the middle of your design. I actually think Canva have done a great job of placing it in a way that makes it useful, but doesn't intrude on the space you use for your design. So you can see it's at the top here, and it stays right at the top without obscuring what you're actually working on. And if I click on, for example, this box here, which is just a simple colored block in Canva, you'll see it changes. It now gives me the options that are available based on what I've clicked on. So it's a shape, and I have access to color, corner rounding, I can add text to it, etc. You still can animate, and you still have access to the position tools in this menu bar. If something is missing, something that you use regularly, if you just go to these little arrows on the right-hand side and say See All, it will open this menu fully on the right-hand side of your screen. Again, making best use of this horizontal screen size so that you can access everything that you need. It's collapsed some of the menus so that it gives you more space to work with, but they're easy to access, and when you're finished, you just click the X to close it, and you go back to your full screen view. As I mentioned, that menu changes depending on what you're clicked on, so if I click on text, you'll see it opens something very different. If I go to one of the frames within this video, if I click on that, it gives me different options because there's an image in it. And you can see that as I move around and click on different elements, it gives me different options, quick and easy shortcuts to be able to edit and customize things for my particular brand. So that covers the majority of changes in this editing window, but obviously there is a lot to it and a lot of sub-menus to explore. So I encourage you to play around and try it out, see how it works for you. There is one new function that I really did want to show you though that will make it so much easier for you to customize elements to work for your brand. And that's something that allows you to apply the style of one design to another just in a couple of clicks. I'm going to show you how that works by going back to my home menu. I'm going to go to Templates, and I'm going to open one of the human resources templates from a work kit. Now, obviously, these are designed to be useful, but they're not designed for your brand colors or style. I'm going to open this company culture presentation. I like the look of that, and I'm going to say customize this template. Now, obviously, this could be a huge job to customize a presentation with multiple slides in to fit for your brand. Now, you can go to your brand folder on the left-hand side here and apply your palette, etc. But what if you don't have that yet? What you can do is just go to design, go back to have a look at all the designs available, and you can then filter by color, etc. Scroll down until you find a look and feel that works for you and is closer to your brand. So for example, if I wanted to change this to more neutral colors like this pitch deck here, if I click on the three dots here, it gives me the option to apply the style to this page. I can apply the text style, the colors, or the elements, or all of those. So I'm going to check Apply Style to Page, and you'll see it automatically changes it to colors that are within that template that I have already chosen. I can shuffle the style, and it will change some of the colors and the elements as it plays around with what's available from that template, and I can then apply that style to all pages. It will change the font, the colors, and the elements, and as you scroll down now, you'll see it has made everything way more neutral and has pulled the colors from that other template that I highlighted. The great thing is, if you go to your brand and you go to your brand templates, you can do exactly the same thing. So if I click on the three dots and I say Apply Style to Page, you'll see it applies my brand colors, fonts, and elements to it, including putting my logo in. And then I can again apply this style to all pages, and we can scroll down and have a look how that has reformatted everything. So I just think it's a great, quick and easy way to be able to customize templates so that they work for you and your brand quickly and easily. One tiny last quality of life change that I've noticed in this new glow up is actually something that I'm very relieved about. Have you ever had it happen that you're working on multiple designs in Canva, you're opening things, copying and pasting things, and you suddenly realize that you have 900 windows open, all of which are Canva designs? That's happened to me a lot, and it's really frustrating. And Canva have now basically fixed that just by adding the ability to close a document without leaving Canva. And the way that that works is if I go into one of my documents, I can just click in the top right here and close it whenever I'm ready, and it will take me back to my documents and my recent designs in my dashboard. It's a simple little thing, but I think it's going to be a lot easier than closing down multiple folders and tabs from your web browser. When you've used a tool like Canva for a while, these kind of interface changes can be a bit of a shock to the system. You get used to where things are and how they work, and sometimes it takes a while to get used to these changes and new interface elements. Now, you know, a big part of what I teach and what I believe is that it's important to have a system and a workflow to make sure that you can create consistently beautiful on-brand materials for your business without overwhelm and with style. And that's why, in light of this new interface change and Canva's glow up, I've decided to revamp my Canva course to reflect these changes. I'm completely re-recording the videos, I'm also adding new modules based on feedback and input that I've got from you, and I will be opening enrollment for the new and improved Canva OS in the next few weeks. So if you are interested in not just learning how to use Canva to its full potential, but how to get your head around these new changes to the Canva interface and use them to your advantage, then if you go to the link on the screen right now or in the description below the video, you can sign up for my waiting list, and you'll be the first to know about our early bird pricing. I mentioned before that there were a few things that I was disappointed in, and it's more that I was disappointed that they weren't mentioned. I was really hoping for improvements to the website builder. Considering that you can't even embed a form from your email marketing software like ConvertKit or Flowdesk, I think that's a real weakness of Canva websites and something that's really essential these days. And lastly, with video being so integral to our marketing these days, I was really hoping for maybe some improvements to the video editor, allowing us to insert and style captions, which I know you can do with an app in Canva, but I would like them to be part of the video editing tool. Also, I know a lot of people want to create animations and graphics in Canva and export them for use in other tools, and I'd love a way for people to be able to do that with transparent backgrounds and things like that. They're small changes, but I think they could make a huge difference to how people use Canva as part of a whole suite of tools for their marketing. But I do think that Canva work kits and also the glow up and the changes to the interface make Canva a much better experience for us day to day. And of course, they make so much better use of the incredible library of templates within Canva to really help us use them quickly and easily to grow and improve our business processes. That's it from me, folks. Don't forget to join the list for the new and improved Canva OS program. As I say, enrollment's going to be opening in the next few weeks, so make sure you're on that list. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you soon.